Hey folks, welcome back to another Pokemon Master video, and sorry I haven't been uploading any Master stuff lately because like everyone else in the world, I've been playing Pokemon Violet / Scarlet, I guess. Well, I mean, I've been playing Violet, some other people would be playing Scarlet, but anyways, well, we have the Eeveelution banner dropping tonight, right? As usual, we will be pulling for that, so if you guys want, you could tune into the stream if you're not, you know, busy playing the new games. And yeah, as usual, if you guys do enjoy the content, click the like button. You can subscribe for more, all that stuff. You can support the channel by becoming a member or throwing in a super thanks. So anyways, let's get into this banner. There's a lot of question marks still about this banner, right? But in terms of like what we do know so far is they seem to be limited units, for one, and it seems like all three of them are going to be on the same banner. So it's not going to be 3 separate banners. It's going to be one banner with all 3 units, which could spell disaster if you're trying to get all 3 of them, right? That would be pretty hard, depending on the rates, right? Again, obviously that's one of the other things that we don't know yet in terms of the banner. We don't know the rates of these units. We don't know if it's 3 1% or 3 0.5%, 3 0.75%. I don't know. We don't know the rates of how it's going to be. I'd say it has to be at least 1% though, because like anything less than 1% each would just be like mortifyingly hard to pull, right? I feel like probably the best case scenario would be 2% each, but that probably be a bit too far. 1.5% each would not be too bad either, but I'd say it will probably at least be 1% each, maybe 1.5. But we'll see. And also, the other thing we don't know is, like, how limited are these units, right? Like, are they just going to be, like, a once-a-year thing? Because they're here to, like, celebrate, like, the Eevee Day or whatever, right? So, I'm assuming that's, like, a once-a-year thing, but who knows if it's going to be a once-a-year, or they could maybe bring this banner back, like, every month and add, like, another Eeveelution to it every month. I don't know. We'll see. Or every 2 months, 3 months. Not sure, or is it just gonna be every like once a year? But anyways, that aside, all those unanswered questions, I guess maybe some of them will be answered tonight when the banner drops. The ones that won't be answered is like how often are we gonna get these banners, right? All that stuff. But at least the rates will be answered tonight. Hopefully there's some good discounts. I don't know. But let's talk about the units. The units themselves are actually pretty good. All 3 of them are either weather or terrain setter, and infinite. All 3 of them are infinite weather / terrain setters, right? So obviously we have Kris and Jolteon, Lyra and Vaporeon, Lucas and Flareon. All 3 of them are all pretty freaking good, right? Especially for Legendary Gauntlet, right? Again, due to their infinite weather terrain setting, those are generally very useful in Gauntlet, especially the 2 weather ones, right? Vaporeon and, well, I guess not so much Flare, but like especially like Vaporeon would be incredibly useful against something like Moltres Legendary Gauntlet, right? Because of the fact that like of all the like counters to the Legendary Gauntlet, Moltres probably has some of the least, right? I recently did a video going over that, and just each extra weather setter, right, that could override the sun for Moltres is just a huge, you know, buff. Like Moltres itself isn't super hard to beat, but it really does sort of require you to have either, I guess, sleep or was it sleep or flinch that worked better? Like one of those, or just a weather to overwrite the sun, right? And that just basically all but guarantees you to get a +1 streak, at least, right, for that. So anyways, in terms of the units, they're all built similarly, so let's just go over one first, right? So for example, Jolteon, stat wise they're all pretty different. So Jolteon has good speed, good special attack, and then in terms of the moves, got Thunder Shock, Thunder Wave, Discharge, and then your training move +2 special attack, buffs your team's crit by 1, right? Which this part is also really nice as well. So all of them have a sort of a pattern of, they have a status move for themselves, Jolteon is Thunder Wave, Flareon is Will-O-Wisp, and then Vaporeon's Fake Tears, right, to debuff special defense, and then they all have a 1-gauge spam, Ember, Water Gun, and Thunder Shock, and then they also have AoE move, right, Jolteon's Discharge, Vaporeon's Muddy Water, and Flareon is Heat Wave. And yeah, they also, in terms of their training moves, also have a, you know, team support buffing thing, right? Flareon buffs team special attack, Vaporeon buffs team speed, and then Jolteon again buffs team's crit. So just that alone, right? Having the status, having weather / terrain, having team buffs is just already really good for Gauntlet. And then their Sync Nuke, innate, they're all techs, right? So their tech innate is all just going to be whatever status they have, right? This one's paralysis, this one's special defense debuffs, and then this one's burn, right? And then as for their passives, again, just infinite weather / terrain on Sync, right? You got sun, got rain, you got electric train, and then they also have some extra things for whatever, you know, they have, right? Terrain or weather. Jolteon is, your team stats can't be lowered in electric train, which could be very nice against something like an Azelf, right? That debuffs your, you know, your tank's defense quite a bit. Vaporeon has team vigilance, basically, right? Which is also pretty freaking good. And then Flareon has team no status or flinch, trap, confuse. So all of them, these are some really freaking powerful skills, man. These are some really powerful skills, again, especially for Gauntlet. And then last one has a chance of lowering whatever stat, right? For Flareon, it's a 100% chance of lowering the target's attack by 1 when you use a move, and you know, and sync move as well, right? So so it's all three of them are, you know, guaranteed chance to lower a stat on a move or sync move. Flareon is physical attack. For Vaporeon, it's speed. For Jolteon, it's evasion, right? And yeah, I guess that's it. In terms of the stat differences, again, Jolteon has high special attack and speed. Vaporeon has high, relatively high special attack and nothing much else. I guess HP-ish? I don't know. Vaporeon doesn't have any stats that really stand out too much. I guess it's just HP, right? Not really, honestly. Okay, just special attack then. And then Flareon has you know, special attack here as well. Also physical attack, not that it really uses it, but anyways. So yeah, going into the grids, all relatively similar grids as well, right? So let's go through them one at a time. Actually, that's not, no. Let's go through all three of them at once. So for Flareon, in terms of the 1 out of 5 grid, you have stuff like Flame Proof, Move Gauge Refresh on 2 of your moves, and then some power-ups here and there. As for Vaporeon at 1 out of 5, basically the same thing, except this one is special defense, debuff immunity, stalwart, and Jolteon should be Lith, right? Lith, whatever. And yeah, 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5, you get stuff like shock recovery, power induction, extra 50% chance of damage boost and electric train, which is pretty freaking good. You also have Sync Cure, Team Evasive Rush, Paralysis Synergy 5, so that's straight up 100% multiplier at 2 out of 5, right? So all three of these units have some really good DPS multipliers at 2 out of 5. Over here, it's Raging Rain, right? Sync Cure as well. Team Focus Rush, buff your team's crit there as well on top, on top of that, right? On your sync. Brain Teaser, right? That's another DPS multiplier. And then for Flareon, again, generally the same thing, Charging Sun 5, Burn Synergy 5, and then here it's Team Brain Buff 2, right, for the buff, extra team buffs on sync. And yeah, as for 3 out of 5, you have the rest. You got some Sync Nuke stuff, Solar Flare 5, Scorching Sync 5, right, brain power here as well. So 3 sync nuke multipliers, which are pretty massive sync nuke multipliers. Funny thing, neither of these 3 units have EXs, but they all out nuke the new SSN that we got, which is the strongest ice type nuker. So all 3 of them out nuke the strongest ice type nuker in the game without an EX, which is slightly funny, but that aside, so you have stuff, Rejuvenate 6 as well, Adrenaline 1, which is very good, Synchro Healing, also very, very nice in Gauntlet as well, right? Got Speeding Sun, Stupefying Strike over here, debuff the opponent's special defense, also very, very, very good. All 3 of these units are just wow, right? All really, really nice stuff. Again, same thing here, Rejuvenate 6, Adrenaline 1, Synchro Healing 1, and then here, here instead it has Smarty Pants, Brain Power, and, where is it? Where's the other one? Does it not have, oh well then. What else it has? Rain Gear 3, Racing Rain 3, and then a Jolteon over here, Sync Induction, Brain Power, Static Shock 5. Again, same stuff over here. Over here it has Disenchanting Strike, which debuffs special attack. What was the debuff for? Oh, physical attack over here, right? So yeah, all 3 of them are really, really, really good units, I'd say. All right, despite the fact that they don't have EXs, which slightly sucks, but without the even without EXs, they all nuke very, very, very hard in of themselves. And again, they all set weather and terrain on sync infinitely, right? Infinite weather terrain on sync, which again is very, 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 very useful for Legendary Gauntlet. And they all have some way of buffing your team and debuffing the opponents, statusing the opponents. Like each one of them are just really, really good for all the different gauntlets. Again, I do feel like of the 3, Vaporeon might be the probably the most useful one in terms of gauntlets, just because of its use versus like Moltres. But you know, again, all the other ones have their uses too, right? I mean, you could run Jolteon versus like Tornadus, should be really good. Jolteon versus Cobalion should be pretty good as well. Flareon, not as much, right, in comparison to the other. I mean, you can still run Flareon against something like Uxie as like part of the package, or run Flareon as like a Sunsetter for a fire damage dealer versus like Cobalion or whatever. But yeah, I'd say of the 3, Flareon probably has the least amount of value. But I mean, it's again, it still gives you a lot of really, really great things. Maybe against Tornadus or like Entei or whatever, where you have, although against Entei you also give Entei Sun. But Entei's like fire type moves really aren't that big of a deal generally, I feel. But yeah, you know, helps your team can't be, you know, status, Flint Trap Confused, and you know, Vaporeon has like crit shield for your team. Well, not crit, it's not even crit, it's better than crit shield, it's like vigilance. And then yeah, Impervious. Oh, Jolteon's gonna be really, really good against, again, Azelf. Like, there's so many different legendary arenas that they could be super, super helpful in, right? Which, again, in turn makes it so that they're really good against Gauntlet in general. So all 3 of these units are really, really nice. Really, really nice. Again, there's still a few questions in terms of what's the rate of these banners, right? How limited are they going to be? But in terms of units, they're definitely really, really good. Definitely very, 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 very good. Again, especially for Legendary Gauntlet, helping you get higher streaks and such. So yeah. Just some people just find them like uninteresting because, oh, it's just, no, they didn't even get new outfits, just the regular. Okay, yeah, but the kits are really nice. The kits are really, 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 really nice. The more you look at these kits, the better they seem, honestly. Just all the different things they do, right? All different things do, and all 3 of them do really, really good damage, right? On top of, yeah, they got all the utility stuff, but you know, the support things, the utility stuff, the terrain, weather. On top of that, they all do really, really good damage. All of them do really, really good damage. And again, especially if you're fighting like Gauntlet, so like the AoE part of their kit doesn't, like, these units aren't gonna be that great against mass mode, right? But definitely gonna be good against Legendary Gauntlet, right? Especially when almost all Legendary Gauntlet opponents are single target as well, right? Damage wise. as for some like suggestions in terms of how to build them, right? Again, in terms of like how many you want to pull, like 2, 3 would all be really with pull or candy, whatever, right? 2 and 3 would all be nice, right? 2 is more DPS, 3 is more nuke wise, and a few more utility stuff at 3. Like 3 is just a lot of just like the sync stuff. But yeah, in terms of Vaporeon, lucky skill wise, it's just general, you know, damage dealing stuff, right? Whether it's probably just Crit Strike 2, I feel like, probably. Actually, Weathered Warrior 3, or Crit Strike 2. And 1 out of 5, again, you don't have too much. Just pick up, like, Muddy Water power-ups, actually, ups, and speed, special attack, buffs, right? Stalwart's solid. Fake Tears and Move Gauge Refresh could be nice. Then the rest you could pick up as well if you have the orbs, but you could also just save if you don't have enough orbs. And at 2 out of 5, you have a few more options. Got Raging Rain 5 for more DPS, obviously. And where's the other one? Brain Teasers over here. That's really, really nice as well. Pick up the special attack plus 10 if you want as well. If you're syncing with her, you could pick up Team Focus Rush, but again, at 2 out of 5, you don't really have much of your sync nuke, right? So there's that. And 3 out of 5, it really depends on what you're building. Do you want more DPS or do you want more sync damage? Obviously, you could build a hybrid of that, right? Maybe just take two of them or whatever. There is one thing with these units. So obviously, they can't really take advantage of their own weather/terrain on their syncs unless you could sufficiently skip turns with the opponent, whether you flinch the opponent, sleep the opponent, or just have sync move countdown over here, right? You know, a sync move countdown sellers generally you won't be having that. So teams, you do either want to bring your own like extra weather unit, right? If you want to do damage, you know, with their syncs and stuff, right? But also like gauntlet-wise, you kind of don't want to do that, so it's more like of a master mode thing. But otherwise, if you do have, because there's a lot of really good comps in Gauntlet where you do actually want to bring in flinch or sleep units to just render the opponent useless, which in those cases you could probably get your extra syncs in with the weather, right? But yeah, as for let's see. Again, depending on what you want to do, if you want to do more DPS stuff because you don't want to nuke with them, that's fine, right? You could just, again, you know, take your standard stuff that you have at 2 out of 5. And if you want some extra stuff, you could do that, right? Racing Rain 3 could be nice, helpful. Rain Gear, you're not really tanking with her, so you don't have to worry too much, I guess, on that front. You could maybe pick up Blunting Strike if you have a use for it. If the opponent is pretty physical, you could do that, or if anyone needs a multiplier, you could do that as well. If you are also syncing with her, again, you do have a few options here as well. Smarty Pants, Brain Power, right? Might as well pick up Brain Teaser since it's like literally there anyways. Pick up Sync or Healing, Adrenaline 1. Or you could drop one of these multipliers and then pick up Team Focus Rush 1 as well if you need crit buffs on your team, right? Whichever one you want to drop. Sync or, you know, Brain Teaser, up to you, right? And yeah, I mean, they're all good, man. They're all really good options over there. As for team comms, it's a rain unit, right? You want to set it up, have whatever other water type units that could use the rain. You also have speed buffs, don't forget, right, for your team, so that's also really nice if you do want to throw in a, you know, second damage dealer, right? But it's water type damage dealers, right? I mean, whatever you need to run in rain, you could throw them in there. Any of these water type damage dealers obviously all would help and work. I think there's a few, I think she has ramming speed or something that could, yeah, she has ramming speed, so that could be like extra good for the for the fact that she also helps buff speed as well, right, for some of these multipliers. So yeah, again, just pretty much any water type damage dealer. If you want to get herself even better, although she does work much better with special water units, just because she does debuff the opponent's physical, or not physical, special defense, right? So yeah, a lot of these work. Obviously, in terms of supports, just anyone who could, although she could max out her own stuff if you really want, but I prefer not to, just have someone else max out that extra crit or whatever, right? Just any special crit supports, right? SS Kris, Sabrina, this, that, Singsu Lisa, whatever, SC Lily, there's tons of special sports, right? So anyways, that's Vaporeon. Next we got Jolteon. Jolteon, basically the same. I mean, Crit Strike 2, right? I mean, it's a pretty good damage dealer, so you want to go with that. And at 1 out of 5, again, there's not much you want to pick up. You could pick up everything if you have the orbs. If you want to save a few, just pick up maybe the discharge power-ups, move gauge refreshes, Lith, I guess. And you could save on your orbs, but if you have enough orbs, obviously you could pick everything up. As for 2 out of 5, let's see. You have Paralysis Synergy over here, which is obviously very, very, very nice. You have Power Induction as well, so you definitely want to pick that up. And as for like anything else, you could pick up Shock Recovery if you want. It heals you a bit in Electric Train, which is nice, I guess, if you really need the heals. As for some other options, if you are syncing with, you could pick these two up, but you don't really have your Sync Nuke multipliers, or at least most of your Sync Nuke multipliers at 2 out of 5, so you could also not sync with them and just use your rest on just power-ups for like Discharge or whatever. There's a special attack plus 10 over there, again, Shock Recovery if you want. So you could do something like this instead. At 3 out of 5, again, same thing with Vaporeon. You could go either option. You could go full DPS, which would be something similar to what we had at 2 out of 5. Or you could go for full nuke, which in that case, you got Sync Induction there. You have Static Shock and Brain Power as well. So that's a lot of Sync Nuke multipliers that you could go for. I think you could afford them all, right? Yeah, barely. Barely. But again, you could also go with a hybrid, right? I mean, if you don't want to pick up Sync Induction because it's relatively far, and for that, you'd either need someone to help with your sync move countdown or flinch / sleep the opponent in Gauntlet, which again, it's not very hard to do in Gauntlet. So you could maybe, forego that and just pick up Paralysis Synergy over here. So you have a mix of nuke and DPS as well, and then you could pick up Synchro Healing and Adrenaline 1 over here, both of which are very, 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 very nice and powerful and helpful. All right, so yeah, those are your options. As for any teammates, I mean, it's electric type, so you want to sets electric terrain, so you want to bring your electric damage healers. Is there anyone specific? Oh, stuff like Enchanting Strike are very, very teammate specific, I guess, although in some stages you could use it just so their special damage healers don't do as much, maybe. But yeah, I generally don't really want to go all the way up there. But yeah, as for the rest, right, it's electric train setter. So any of these electric type damage healers, Newer's Volkner obviously would appreciate that quite a bit. Whatever, Marnie, and to an extent, obviously Ash, although he probably doesn't need it either. Red, even though he could set it himself, but Red could also help him if you really want to see his own like nuke in like a mass mode or something. You could have Red in there to set electric train for him. For again the nuke. So yeah, any of these electric type damages are solid, good and helpful, I guess. So yeah, as for himself, in terms of support wise, you don't really need too much because he does already have +4 over here and +2 crit, so anyone that could give him that extra +2 special attack, +1 crit, like even like a Torchic, right, would probably, even Glacia, all right, Glacia could do the trick there, right? So any crit / special attack support could obviously max that out. Last one over here, we got Flareon and Lucas. Again, you could pick up everything at 1 out of 5, but if you want to save some orb, just pick up like Heat Wave power-ups, Speed power-ups maybe, Special attack power-ups, and then like some move gauge refreshes, the flame proof. But yeah, you could pick everything up if you have the orbs. As for 2 out of 5, you have Charging Sun over here, which you definitely want. You have Burn Synergy over here, again, which you also want. This kind of depends if you really want that, if you're syncing with them, although again, like the others, at 2 out of 5, you don't really have your sync nuke qualifiers, so probably not. So instead, maybe just go for some more Heat Wave power-ups. If you want the actually Healing Sun, that could be nice too, just some extra healing. Not a huge heal, but why not, right? You can pick up the MP Refresh too if you want. Then you don't even need like a special attack buffer on your team just to max out special attack on your team. Man, these units do so much, bro. Anyways. 3 out of 5. Oh, also in terms of lucky skills, again, Weathered Warrior 3 or Crit Strike 2, right, for damage healers like these. And yeah, 3 out of 5, like the other two, right? You have your options. Either you go for Sync Nuke stuff, right, or you go DPS, or you go for a mix. So you have Solar Flare up here. You have Brain Power, Scorching Sync down here. So if you want to go for a more, you know, nuke-ish kind of build, you could go something like this. Right, and that could get you quite a few, you know, get Charging Sun 5, get Solar Flare 5 there too, Scorching Sync, Brain Power, again, like the other two. If you do actually want to get Solar Flare 5 in there, though, you would have to have someone else to either set Sun or have Sync Move Countdown on your team, or flinch, sleep against the Gauntlet opponents or whatever, right? But yeah, that really depends. Last one, you could pick up that. Or again, you could go for more so stuff that's focused over here. Pick up the Burn Synergy instead, so you don't have to worry about any of the Sun stuff, although you can still pick up Charging Sun. If you, I mean, you'll almost always have Charging Sun up, though, so that should be fine since you set Weather on Sync. But if you don't want to deal with that and you want extra, like, support stuff, which could be really nice, like Adrenaline and Synchro Healing, that could also be very, very good. If you need the Team Brain buff for some reason, you could do that. Stupefying Strike could also be really, really nice if you are running him with some special damage healers, right? So you can maybe also go for that. It is a bit of a reach, but you could get there without sacrificing any of the stuff over here, so that would also, you know, always be nice too. Let's see, can you do something? No, it's not worth it. Get like extra like 2 save. Okay, so yeah. As for teammates for Flareon, just units that could use the Sun, right? Anyone that could use Sun would be nice here, obviously. And although Sun generally is not limited to fire types, there are some like grass types that could use Sun as well. Units that have Charging Sun or Solar Flare or just Solar Beam as a move, right? But yeah, but like outside of those, obviously the obvious options are the fire types, especially some special fire types. You want to pick up Stupefying Strike 9 over there as well, right? That could be helpful. Anyone that has any like burn-based multipliers, I guess. He could be pretty nice for Leon, especially, right? Since Leon, one, he could burn himself, but more so the special attack buffs that he could give Leon. So you know, he gets the buffs going a bit faster as well. Same thing for maybe like Ho, although Ho could do a decent amount of that himself now. But yeah, a lot of these special fire damage healers he could definitely be very, very, very good for as well, right? Serena maybe. All right, Serena could be a pretty freaking good combo with him. So yeah, as for his own stats and stuff, you're just missing 1 crit and 2 special attacks. So like any support that could give 1 crit, 2 special attack is just easy money, right? So anyways, all in all 3 of these Eeveelutions are really, 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 really good unit. Very, very, like, worth, like, in terms of bang for your buck, in terms of, like, just how much stuff they do for your team, right? All incredibly, incredibly good. They do a billion things that are all really, 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 really good in Gauntlet. Fantastic, fantastic Gauntlet units, all 3 of them. The only thing is we just don't exactly know how the banners are going to be structured and stuff, right? So if you want me to like to recommend, oh, which one of these 3 is like the best? Well, I mean, that depends on whichever one you pull. Whichever one you pull is the best. Okay. The ones you don't pull are terrible. The one you pull is the best. No. But if you do have to, you know, go to scout points and pick one, I'd probably recommend Vaporeon first, and then maybe Jolteon, then Flareon. I feel like that's probably the order in terms of how useful they could be in general for Gauntlet. Although you could maybe swap Jolteon with Vaporeon. Really, you know, it depends. If you need more help on your team for electric types, or you need more help for water types, I guess. But obviously both of them very, very, very useful. Flareon's pretty useful as well. He's just it doesn't have like isn't a direct counter for as many gauntlets as I'd say Vaporeon and Jolteon are, but he's still really, really nice. Again, all 3 of them are really, really, really good units. it highly depends on how these banners are gonna work. But if you do get them, they're all really good. You do need higher copies for them if you want to do more damage with them. But in terms of like the utility stuff, they all have it at base, right? The infinite weather terrain, the status or stat debuff that they got, the extra support they have, and then these defensive passives, right? Like these low-key, some people slightly ignore these, but these might be like of all the things they do in their kit, they're definitely some of the best things that they could actually do, right? Critical hit protection, stat debuff protection. This is straight up like status and like flinch, trap, confuse is wow. Those are some really good passives, right? So yeah, all three of them are really good. Really depends on how it's gonna work, right? But I'd probably give the banners like a, I don't know, 7.3 out of 10. The question mark again is just depends on how the banners are gonna work, right? So if they're really good, like in terms of like rates wise, that could go higher. If they're maybe not that great, then the rate could go lower, right? So that's just the one thing. The units are fine. All three of the units are really nice. It just really depends on how they're gonna structure the banners, right? So anyways, that's really this one, I guess. Hope y'all enjoyed. Guys, think in the comments down below. Like, enjoy the videos for our channel, some more Pokemon content. Again, we will be polling for them live when it happens. Please pray for me if I need to get all three of them 3 out of 5, and they're all like 0.5% each. So anyways, have fun. Good luck, guys. Are polling, and I'll see you guys in the next one.